All right, welcome back to Sports Extra, everybody. I'm Reggie Chapman. We've been watching so much soccer that I kind of got lost track of time. My producer, Megan, had to remind me that the U.S. match was actually earlier this week. They lost to Belgium, which is crazy. There's been plenty to talk about this men's team, and I think personally it's really good that soccer has become such a forefront of our media right now that everybody's talking about it, even if it's in disappointing fashion with their loss to Belgium earlier this week. Doug, a disappointing loss after what had really been an incredible tournament for this team. They had made everybody start to believe. Your major takeaways on what went wrong for this group?
It's not what went wrong. It's that they weren't going to beat Belgium.
Okay.
I mean, they could play Belgium 100 times, and they're going to lose 90 times. There's a difference in the class of quality of players. Belgium has world-class players. The U.S. has very good players, but doesn't yet have world-class players. Is it going to? Yes, it will. But there just wasn't a whole lot tactically or anything that the U.S. is going to be able to do to beat Belgium. I mean, Belgium just beat them 5-2 at Mercedes-Benz Stadium a few months ago.
Yep, I was there. It was gross.
Yeah. For people to think that the U.S. was suddenly going to be that much better than Belgium, I thought was just a little pie in the sky, a little naive. It wasn't going to happen.
Well, it's funny because it feels like a lot of the reasons people thought that is because after all the controversy with Balogun, being able to get him back after getting his red card, I guess, suspended or whatever the hell they decided to do. Joe, but Balogun goes out there. He's been a good player for this. He does not score in the match. But do you think that was maybe the reason that people started to believe in his impact, obviously, over this tournament? He's become a household name.
Oh, yeah, totally. I think definitely, fans were buoyed by the fact that he was going to be in this lineup and that he had been so successful to that point in the tournament. And I think the fans were also buoyed by the fact that the team had just scored a lot of goals, a record amount of goals for the United States in a World Cup run. But ultimately, they couldn't complete a 5-yard pass in this game. It was they lost to the occasion more than the opponent, in my opinion. I mean, I know Belgium, to Doug's point, is very good quality, but to me, I was watching on the first goal that Belgium scores, a bunch of the United States players just watching a ball bounce in their own box, and that's something that you should learn from a school age not to allow happen. So I think there were just some fundamental things, and there was a lot of pressure and added attention to this game because of the Balogun situation, and ultimately the players just came up short in passing that test.
I think the Balogun situation was a distraction for the U.S. men's national team. I think the whole thing was handled so poorly by FIFA, and it better pray that Messi or Mbappe or Kane or Pedri doesn't pick up a bizarre red card in this semifinal game and then petition to get that player back for the final, because a precedent has been set now. And it could not have been healthy for the locker room. It could not have been healthy for the coaching staff, for the preparations. I think it backfired. It was good for the U.S., potentially, yes, but in the long run, I think it ended up hurting them more than helping.
Especially for a player who can't really make an impact unless his teammates are able to get him the ball.
Correct.
Right.
Or it's funny, you mentioned sometimes when when you buy a car, you start to see it all the time now. I all of a sudden noticed the goalkeeping difference between the United States and Matt Freese and everybody else after he made that mistake. And as a former goalkeeper, that is something I have had nightmares about happening to me, especially on that stage. Now, mind you, we talk about the United States. You come into this tournament, you've talked for years about this team, and you've always talked about Christian Pulisic, who is Captain America, maybe the best player to come out of America, maybe ever, and he just did not show up for this tournament. 1 assist. He left the first game at half. He left the last game after getting hurt. He missed the second one. Doug, I don't even, he's been getting piled on. Do you think that the criticism has been, made sense based on how he played over this tournament?
The criticism makes sense. He didn't rise to the occasion, which is what you expect of your best players on the national teams. But to be fair, his form has not been great for the past 6 months, since December, with his club team. So I think perhaps the expectations were a little bit unfair for Pulisic. At the same time, he did not rise up. He did not show that he's the best player on this particular group of U.S. players. I wondered when he took himself out, when he was subbed out in that last game, what the injury was. I did not want to put anything on social media about you don't take yourself out like Carly Lloyd did. And then we come to find out he had a fairly serious injury. So it just did not work out for Pulisic this time. And it's going to be curious to see how, if Pochettino stays, who the next manager is, do they try to build the team around him or do they try something else?
I'm curious, Joe, do you keep him on the? You've had people talking about don't bring him back for this next cycle.
Yeah,
do you agree?
I think that's too drastic. Although we'll see where things where things are in 4 years. It's a long ways away. I do kind of think Christian Pulisic is a guy who is maybe not the best when he is the focal point of a team. Where when he's playing for his teams in Europe, he's maybe the third or fourth best piece on a team, and in that way he can be a lot more effective. And it does seem like he's just unable to carry that load for the United States for whatever reason. I'm also a little bit concerned about him physically. Just he doesn't look like his legs are not as bulked up as like we talk about some of these other superstars who have these just massive legs, and he looks a little bit more chicken-leggy to me. And he did suffer this injury, and so I worry about him in that respect as well.
For you longtime Braves fans out there, he reminds me of Mike Hampton, a former pitcher for the Braves, who I don't think ever understood the difference between playing hurt and being injured. I don't know if Pulisic knows how to play hurt compared to actually being injured. Now, the last game he was injured, but there's other times that we've seen that it's like, can you not just play? Yeah. Can he not tough it out?
If I could say one more thing about Pulisic too, which is that I felt like he was emblematic, especially in that Belgium game, of this United States team that just played under stress. They looked like they were stressed when they were playing. They didn't play with the freedom like we saw Mexico play with against England, probably a bigger juggernaut than Belgium, but they had that culture in them that allows them to be free when they get in those big moments. For the United States, it's the complete opposite right now.
It really was a tough finish to what overall was a really awesome summer watching that team compete.